Namaste. Welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity Yoga and Nancy. It has been a while since I showed up for one of these videos. I have been a little bit under the weather over the month of December, an odd case of pneumonia, as well as a lot of external stressors. So I have been away from my practice as much as I have been away from these videos. So it's really good to be back, and I'm hoping everybody's feeling well and getting well into 2025 with as much peace and serenity as they can have. So today what I like to do is something a little differently. I am not going to pull a question from the jar. I am actually going to read a poem I've written, some spoken word, that relates to this problem many of us have with chasing after our disturbances and clinging on to them. In our choices or our desire to avoid those things in life that are uncomfortable, that disturb our peace of mind, we often have a tendency to cling, as the Buddhists would say. Our clinging in the psychological form come in repression and suppression mode. And when we think we're pushing away, what we're actually doing in our avoidance is pushing down under the subconscious layer, creating what the yogis would refer to as samskaras or tendencies. And the world out there will continue doing what the world does randomly. What appears to be randomly probably has much more order than we realize. And these events can often trigger our internal samskaras, asking them to be activated and to come up to the surface, causing our so-called emotions, that energy that is displaced. I've had a lot of external stressors in the last month that have aggravated my samskaras and have brought them to the surface, creating a bit of emotional turmoil, disturbing my peace. And so when I see something disturbing my peace, instead of just letting it be and letting it go, I, as a human being, often have a tendency to go after it and cling to it and do something about it. And in so doing, I just create more stress and a more disturbance. And this is what this little spoken word is all about. So I will digress from my long ramble and just read this poem I wrote in the best possible way. I have poems taped up on either side of me so I can keep my eyes up, but I'm not doing so good with my eyes these days, so I don't see a whole very clearly. So we'll see how smoothly this goes. So beware. Anyway, here's the poem. Little ripples on the lake. Tiny reflections of the sun above glimmer and dance on the lake's surface, imperfect twinkling diamonds of peace and presence. The stillness, hidden in the deep depths, is called up to dance with the power of the source, and the world sees its reflection in the clear glass waters. Standing on the shore, I peek in at the reflection of my awkward human form. I inhale deeply, breathing in my only true desire, that which the lake is offering: perfection, peace, and presence. For the briefest of seconds, I see clearly what I am to see. Then, out of nowhere, the wind blows, and a leaf, a tiny browning leaf, is pulled from the nearby branch that it once clung so tightly to. It falls, twisting and turning in effortless circles. I watch as it slowly and surely drops in one big exhale from my distracted life to the perfectly still surface of this lake. It lands in the center of my visual field, and in an instant, stillness is disrupted, creating a tiny ripple, a tiny disturbance in the perfect peace and presence I have been witnessing. The tiny ripple extends outward into another tiny ripple and another, until my reflection becomes a blurry mess. I gasp in resistance as the image of who I think I am, the clarity and perfection, the peace and presence of this lake is disrupted. I spit out that disturbance from my struggling lungs. I watch as these ripples swallow up the stillness, and I shout out, "No!" I know I must do something about it. I jump in to the frigid depths. Splashing and splattering, I swim toward the leaf at the center. With great desperation and contempt, I swoop it up with my trembling hand. It and the weight of my resistance are like heavy anchors within me. I am pulled down into the depths. Though there is something oddly reassuring and familiar about these waters below the surface, I refuse to be swallowed up into an abyss that I cannot make sense of with my mind. So I struggle to resurface, creating more ripples, more disturbance with every splashing effort I make. The ripples turn into waves, and the waves into rip currents. I choke on the turbulent waters as it fills my lungs with each breath I take in. Yet I will not let go. I cling to the leaf even tighter. Somehow I manage, with leaf in hand, to awkwardly and painfully make my way to the shore, where I, crawling in exhausted limbs, pull myself up from the lake with its now thrashing waters. I collapse into the sand. The cause of my disturbance tucked neatly in the palm of my clenched fist. I will not let it go. I will hang on to it as a reminder of what I must do to prevent disturbance. It takes a long time for the waters to return to their pure state, to perfection, peace, and presence. But they do. I smile then, pleased at myself for my accomplishment, as I watch the sunlight flicker and dance once again on the clear surface of this lake. I can finally rest. That is until the wind blows again and another brittle leaf falls to the lake surface to start the rippling all over again. Well, I hope that speaks for itself with our tendency to avoid some scary triggers and to avoid disturbance instead of just allowing life to be exactly what it is. We cannot stop the wind from blowing people. We cannot stop the leaves from falling. We cannot stop the ripples. But we do not have to make the ripples worse with our resistance to the reality that we have been presented with. I've been noticing myself doing that over this course of events that have been occurring in my life this month. And I'm trying to learn to let go instead of clinging to the brittle leaves that seem to be causing all the disturbance. Because they really aren't. It's just my mind. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day and all the best in 2025. Namaste.